So you talked a little bit earlier about reference points, and I'm just wondering what you did when you came up with the amphibian creature from Shape of Water. Did you study underwater creatures?
Yeah, so with that one, our goal was to make him feel that when he was out of the when he was out of the water, he was Doug Jones in the suit, so that's uncomfortable enough, I'm sure. But our job was to, when he's in the water, in the tank, was to make him feel at home. And so we went straight to water life, seals, sea otters. There's a couple other ones that we did. I look for Olympic swimmers because of the biped similarities, and then dolphins. So we wanted to have a gracefulness within the water and an ease of movement, which was actually tough because we got so graceful that it got too light. So we just sort of amalgamated a number of water creatures, and so I did a motion study where, Olympic swimmers have their arms out and everything, but I wanted to see what it looked like with these, he uses those as almost secondary legs, so that's why his arms are sort of wiggling back and forth, like Olympic swimmers do when they do the dolphin kick. I just want to plus that out a bit with getting the arms and having the arms flow. And I got to go to set and I talked to Doug Jones. I said, what's in the back of your mind when you're thinking about this creature? And he said, a graceful matador and a silver surfer. And for me, that just turned the light on. And I said, okay, it's all about the flowing lines and through the water. So that's how we sort of came up with those motion studies. And when we were in the tank in the lab, it was tough because our area of motion was quite limited.
And you had to flirt.
And we had to flirt with just body language, and that's I don't know if many people actually make the connection that this movie is a love story where the two main actors don't say anything. I was like, I couldn't think of anything more difficult to do. So then we started going to facial expressions.
Yeah,
body
the facial
language.
expressions. So we scanned Doug Jones both in and out of his makeup prosthetic. We scanned him entirely, doing a wide range of motions on his face, and we actually used Doug's face as the basis for the amphibian man's performance and range of motion. We felt really strongly that we wanted to keep his face in particular grounded and very subtle. I mean, Doug can do just broad motions, and he's an amazing actor and amazing mind.
Absolutely.
But there's only so much that comes through the prosthetic that he had to wear. So, most shots in the film we're doing from here to here are CG on the creature. When he's suffocating in the bathtub, we cut back and forth between going here to here to entirely CG shots, back and forth several times. But we actually created a Doug Jones animation rig that we would put next to the Amphibian Man animation rig just to make sure the range of motion stayed plausible.
Yeah, make sure we're getting the same.
To make sure that it looked natural and it looked like a performance Doug would actually put on. And, it is a love story. The audience had to fall in love with the creature along with Eliza in the film in order for it to work. And if we affected the audience's suspension of disbelief in any way, the entire thing came down like a house of cards. So we weren't going for hyper-reality, we weren't going for scales and leathery skin. We were duplicating a foam latex appliance designed by Legacy Effects over the span of many, many years. Because we wanted it to look plausibly practical. We wanted it to be grounded, lived in, and when it seems like stagecraft, when it seems like pure makeup, the audience just accept it and move on. When it seems like CG, there's always something in the back of your head that's like, there's something wrong with this, and you go into analytical mode and start dissecting things. And we couldn't do that because we'd be affecting the core of the love story in this. So it was a really, really delicate balance.
Yeah, our biggest thing was to get make it look like the creature would fall in love. And Guillermo said, "Look, you guys can do anything with CG. I know that, but you can't make CG for me." And I said, "Yes, we can."
Well, it starts with the eyes and works out from there.
I think the underlying current to what Trey and Kevin are saying, which is something Guillermo would reiterate constantly, is his creature was handsome. It was a handsome leading man, and the only way for him to remain a handsome leading man was to keep the performance very detailed, very small micro expressions, things that a leading man would do, not necessarily a fish creature.
Yeah, it's film acting, not stage acting.
Yeah, and so he would remind us of that all the time if we would go too far. It's like, remember, he doesn't look handsome anymore now, he looks like a creature, and that would break the suspension of disbelief that a human woman could fall in love with this creature. So that was a key thing running throughout, that was just something we always had to remind ourselves to not stray too far from what we captured in camera. Including the lighting, like he was lit like a leading man. We had to make sure that we retain that in his eyes, in his face, where the shadows were, where the specular highlights were in the eyes.
Like pin lights in the eyes per shot. Guillermo and Dan Lauschten, the DP, spent the movie looks like it was a $60–100 million movie. It was 20. And everybody ended up on screen, and then some. So.